All right, everyone, thank you so much for being on time. I'm going to get the ball rolling for those of you that are here right on the dot. And today's an exciting one because we're going to be covering Zapier. Now, Zapier is one of those cool techie programs that can really go over a lot of people's heads. So I'm going to just share ideas on how it can be used. And then I'm also going to show a role play of me setting one up from beginning to end. It's very linear. Once you've done it once, then it's like, oh, okay, step one, step two, step three, step one, step two, step three. So we're going to do that. I just want to make sure everybody's muted because I think I can hear somebody. Yeah, okay. So on Zapier, this is basically how it works. So you integrate multiple different apps. Have you guys ever been in a scenario where you get internet leads from, say, the MLS, you get leads from your franchise, you get leads from your own personal website, maybe classified ads and other sources. And what do you end up doing? They all come to your inbox, your email, and then you end up copying and pasting and putting them into your database, and then copying and pasting and launching a BombBomb video or something, or copying and pasting and putting them into MailChimp. Like there's so much copying and pasting and you're managing multiple databases. Basically, Zapier connects all of that for you. They used to be working with like 700 apps. Now it's like 1,400 apps. So pretty much anything that we work with, they work with. And so it's kind of like you set it up, you say when this happens and you'll choose. So for example, I would choose when I get a Facebook lead, do this, put them into my database. And you set the timeline. And every 15 minutes, Zapier is going to check, did you get any new leads? Did you get any new leads? Did you get any new leads? Every 15 minutes. And then they're going to be like, oh, he's got a new lead, put it into the database. Oh, she's got a new lead, put it into the database and launch the follow-up plan. So you set the timeline once, and then it will keep rechecking for you. So this basically was my first assistant that I ever got. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to watch this video. And I'm going to let Zapier explain what they do for us.
We all use a lot of web apps to get work done. They help us send emails, plan projects, run marketing campaigns, and build entire companies. But we end up spending a lot of time managing these tools and moving information from one app to another manually. Zapier helps you win back your time by enabling web apps to do the work for you. With Zapier, the apps you rely on can talk to each other through personalized integrations called Zaps. Each Zap tells your apps how and when they should pass data back and forth. Let's say you use a web form to collect customer feedback. You can set up a Zap to automatically copy new submissions to a spreadsheet. Or make a Zap that sends email and chat notifications to your team automatically when you make a sale. With more than 1,000 apps integrated with Zapier, you can make a Zap for almost anything. People have used Zapier to save millions of hours of work. Ready to join them? Sign up today and start zapping.
Good job, Zapier. Okay, so really, really cool program. I've been using them for years and years and years. Now, take a look at this. This is the Zapier homepage dedicated to real estate. So of the 1,000 apps, I mean, look at all the ones they're already integrating with specifically to real estate. Like a lot of us are using Follow Up Boss, for example. Many use Zillow, Mojo Dialer. I actually want if any of you know somebody at this company, have them reach out because I want to do a demo with them. Anyways, Real Geeks, listings to leads, we've covered them in the past. So imagine all of the data that you're getting leads from listening to leads, and you could have it automatically put into your follow-up boss to follow up with these leads. Like you can just connect and automate so many different steps. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through a couple of the real estate ones. And this isn't it, like it stops here, but I know they're missing some because if I do a search and type in BombBomb, do a search up here, BombBomb. There, I can see it. They have BombBomb, and it's not identified on the real estate category, which is funny because like 90-something% of their clients are real estate agents. So if you go to the real estate tab, which I'm going to email you this is going to be my working doc right here. So I'm going to email you this Word document, and I gave you shortcuts, my scripts, and everything for all the main apps that you probably want to use. Okay, so I did all the major homework for you, so you're all going to get this as a download to have and use. And starting up at the top is going to be how to get Zapier. So Zapier is this link right here will get you 100 free zaps per month. And then some of the apps that we use are considered premium. Like I use Infusionsoft, which is considered premium. So I have to pay $20 a month for Zapier. Otherwise, if you're not using a premium app, then you won't have to pay. One of the other premium ones that most of you do use would be Facebook leads. So if you're paying for Facebook leads, that's considered premium. So then Zapier wouldn't be free. It would be $20 a month. But for most of the people on the call, you'll be able to use it for free. Also, let's take a look at the categories. So they have customer relationship, CRMs. Look at all the different CRMs. So I'm using Infusionsoft, which I don't suggest real estate agents use because it's really expensive. But look at all these CRMs. I mean, I'm sure if I scroll down, most of you are using one of these right now. Right? I mean, the page goes on and on and on of all these different databases and CRMs that you can be using. Oh, there's a question. Which is the best CRM so far? Wow, that is a good question. The answer is the one that you use, and it's so dry when people say that, and it's not funny, but it's true. Like back in the day, I really liked Top Producer. That was the one that I used. Going forward, however, I would only use a database that works with Zapier. I mean, any tech tool that I use today. So here, if I go to Google, I'll say top producer versus. As soon as I type in the name of the one company and add the word versus, Google will tell me their main competitors. So I'm like, okay, does Contactually work with Zapier? And if so, then I'm going to work with them because I need my database to be connected with so many other things. So this is how I search and filter the technology that I'm going to use. So what is the best CRM? Let me show you. I'm really excited about this one right here. Let me get rid of this bomb. The reason why this one is piquing my interest right now, especially for the real estate industry, is one, it works with Zapier. Two, it's real estate. And three, it has BombBomb built right in. And I'm such a huge fan of BombBomb because it makes following up so much easier with people. So this is the one that I kind of want to start suggesting to people going forward. However, in the past, there's this one, Agile CRM. So if you Google search Agile CRM, check them out. This is not real estate specific, but what I like about them is their price point. It's free. So this is free database. It integrates with Zapier. And they do have a lot of bells and whistles. So if you want to upgrade, you can. So the free one, but if you needed to upgrade, it starts at $9 a month, $29 a month, and $47 a month. So I like Agile because of the pricing. It's really, really cheap for people. So most people could just hop on the free one and start using something instead of just using Excel. More questions before I move forward. Compass just bought Contactually major ramification. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess so. We signed up about 6 weeks ago. It's amazing. I'm not sure what you signed up for, but that's cool. What if I'm ugly looking and would not like to show my face on BombBomb? You're not ugly looking. I've seen your face, and you can record your computer screen, so you don't have to be the one in front of the camera. You can be behind the camera and just recording your computer screen, and you can send screen recordings to people as well. Hopefully that answered your question there. Okay, cool. So let me head back over to this Word document we're using. Okay, so some of the apps that we use, like Facebook. So let's head on over to the Facebook one. All right, so this is the Facebook. So if you click the link that I give you, it shows you all the different ways that you can integrate Facebook to happen automatically. So here's one example is you can auto share Instagram photos to your Facebook page. And people are like, wait, I can already do that. Think about it. If you have a personal Instagram account, not a business account, and you want your Instagram post to automatically be added to your business page, because right now your Instagram photos are added to your personal page, you can automate it this way. So there's like ways around certain things. So you can also do tweeting posts from a page. If you scroll through the bottom, there's like extra options down here. Automatically share new Facebook page posts on a WordPress blog. So it's kind of like a way that you could automate your blogging if you're using WordPress, for example. Sharing Google Calendar events from your Facebook page. So you can like scroll through here. This is a couple ideas. I'm going to actually move forward because there's more power that we can do on the business version of it. So I'm going to head on over to your Facebook business page. Okay, so Facebook lead ads. And I'm actually going to do a live example coming up like right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to say hypothetically, okay, if you're getting Facebook leads, how are we going to actually use this tool to email me a notification and add them to a database and do a couple other extra bells and whistles? So when you use this Facebook lead app, you can do many, many different things. You can say, when I get a Facebook lead, automatically send me an email. When I get a Facebook lead, automatically build an Excel sheet or a Google Doc of all of the leads that I get. Add them to MailChimp. You can even set up things. I don't know if they have an example here, but you can get a text message when you get an internet lead. Yeah, SMS notifications. So the SMS notifications would be when you get a Facebook lead, Zapier is going to send you a text message with the lead's name, phone number, email, and even a script to follow up and call, which is really, really cool. However, that feature through Zapier is only working in the States and the UK, and I do have a lot of Canadians on the call. But there is a roundabout way, I believe, because if you go to Zapier and if we type in TWI Twilio, I use Twilio and I'm a Canadian. So I know Twilio works and it does calling and texting. So there's probably a roundabout way for you to get your leads sent to you as a text through Twilio. With over 1,400 apps that they're working with now, you can almost do anything today. So let's actually do one. I'm going to head into, let me get to the dashboard. Okay, so I'm logged in. I'm going to make a new Zap. So when you log in for the first time, you're going to want to click this button up at the top. It says make a Zap. It's going to create. Now look on the left. This is like our timeline. It is very linear. It is black and white, fill in the blank, one thing at a time. You can't move forward until you've done the previous. So the first thing is, what app are we even using? I'm going to say Facebook leads is the first app. I want to name this Zap. Facebook lead test. The first time you connect, you're going to choose new leads. So what happens on Facebook when I get a new lead? Save and continue. Okay, and you're going to see now we're going down step by step. So now I have to choose my account. So if this is the first time you've done it, you don't have any of this stuff, you're going to connect your Facebook account by following their online instructions. I've already done that, so I'm going to move forward. Now it wants you to choose what business page you're using. So I'm going to choose my business page, for example. And then what form do I want to use? So I'm going to do this form here. Now, before you create your Zap, you have to have everything else set up. So you have to have your database set up with what's the auto reply. You have to have the Facebook ads set up and the forms already created. So Zapier is the last thing that you set up. Today's session isn't to show you how to do Facebook form leads because we've done a whole session before on that step by step. So what you want to do is if you've never done a Facebook lead, watch that video first so that you have it all set up. Because if you don't have a Facebook form set up, how are you going to choose it from the list? There won't be anything on the list. You won't have any forms created. So today's session is just on Zapier, assuming you've got other things set up. You've got your database follow-up plan, your drip plan, all that set up. Okay, so I already have my Facebook form set up from the last call that we did on Facebook leads. So I'm going to hit continue. Now it's going to want to pull in some samples. So I'm going to pull in some fake data. And it's really important that you do that. So there, I just pulled in fake data. And I'll show you in the next step why this is important. So you have to pull in your fake data and hit continue. All right. Now what we want to do is that's the first step. We told Zapier, when I get a lead from this business page and from this form. Now Zapier is like, okay, great. What do you want me to do next? Okay, so we're going to add a step. And you can create, there's different options down here. So what you do is you click on the action search. And then what would be a good one? I'd say the email. So email's right here, but if you don't see what I'm showing on your screen, you can just type in email. And basically anything that is like this orange icon is a Zapier proprietary built-in app. So see all these orange ones down here? These are all owned and managed by Zapier. And any of the color ones that look like other company logos are owned and managed by those other companies. So I'm going to choose email because the weird thing about Facebook when you pay for a lead is that you don't get notified about it, which to me is the most crazy thing ever because you're paying for the lead and Facebook notifies you about when people are commenting and liking on other photos. Why wouldn't they let you know that you've got a lead that you paid for through their platform? It's crazy. So I want to get notified by an email. So I'm going to hit save and continue. Okay. So now I've got the email and all I have to do is work my way from the top to the bottom. So I'm going to say to. So who does this email go to? So I'm going to have it go to me. And you can use a comma to separate and email multiple people. So maybe you want your admin to get carbon copied on all the leads. Maybe you have a specific lead email, a team email lead, whatever. I'm just going to use the one, but you can do multiple emails. The subject, I'm going to call it FB lead. So we've got a Facebook lead. Okay, now in the body of the email, what do I want it to show? Well, okay, for one, I want to know who the client's name is. So when I click this plus button, it pulls in all of this fake data. Remember like 5 steps ago where I did a test and it pulled in fake data and I said it's really important that you do this? The reason for that is because now we can see, okay, so I want the clients, I want their first name. So it's going to mail merge their first name. I'm going to hit the space button and then I'm going to mail merge their last name. And then I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to pull in their phone number. Phone number. Okay, hit space, and I'm going to pull in their email as well. Just for the sake of it, because I can, I'm also going to pull in the date that it was created and the time. Okay, so that's going to be at the top of my email. The reason I want it at the top is so that I don't have to scroll down. Now, I can also, for simplicity's sakes, email myself a script specific to when I get a buyer lead. So here's my script, by the way. It works really good. So I call the person, I say, hey, is this Joey? And they say, yeah. And I'm like, hey, I wanted to call and say thank you so much. You filled in a form and you're looking at real estate for sale here in Durham region. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. When you're done looking today, you'll notice the new listings tomorrow just get mixed in with all the old ones. Wouldn't it make sense if I emailed you all the listings that match your criteria going forward? Pause and let them answer. And most of the people will be like, yeah, that makes sense. So then I'd say, okay, if you were to move, where would you move to? Oshawa or Whitby? And I put the words in their mouth, forcing them to correct me, because otherwise they're kind of like all over the map. So I put the words in their mouth, and then I say, okay, how many bedrooms and bathrooms? And they tell me. Under what price? And they tell me. Any must-haves? And they tell me. Okay, if you were to start looking at property, when would that be? And they'll tell me, oh, 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever. Okay, when that time comes, do you already have a realtor? So it's a very natural flowing conversation. What I like about this script is I reminded them of the action they took. I said, I wanted to call and say, thank you so much. You filled in a form looking at real estate for sale. I didn't say, hey, you're on the Dan Wood website and you filled in, because they don't even remember. They're like, yeah, I guess, because they filled in so many different forms. So I'm not telling them they were on my website or on my Facebook. It doesn't matter. I'm just reminding them of the action they took. Oh, I got a bunch of typos here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to go back to Zapier, and in the email, the body of the email, I'm going to email myself that script. Wouldn't that be nice if every time you got your lead, you also got a reminder on the script? Because seller scripts would be different, right? And maybe you have an investing script and you have different landing pages for different topics. Then you can have your different scripts. Okay, if you had to send an attachment for whatever reason, you could. I'm not going to do that. All I'm going to do is put the from name is going to be in Wood, and then all of this other stuff is useless. I'm just going to leave it as is. So I'm going to hit continue. All right. So it's showing me a proof of what this ad is going to look like, what this email is going to look like. While you guys are looking at that, there is a chat. Just let me see what's up. Nothing, no chat. Okay. Okay, so I can send myself a test, which I definitely highly suggest that you do. So always test everything that you do. I'm only going to skip it because you guys are watching my screen and I'm moving on to the next step. Okay, so now we've got that. So when I get a Facebook lead, it checks my Facebook business page, it pulls up that form, and any new entries on that form, Zapier grabs. Then what's it do? Okay, it's going to send me an email to my email, and it's going to pull in all of the name, phone number, email, and the time of the people and email me the script. Okay, that's great. Now what? Well, I should add another step. So I'm going to add a step. Click this button here. I'm going to add a step. And I'm going to, all my Facebook leads, I want to automatically put them into a Google Sheet. I'm going to click on Google Sheets. Now, what I did was, first, I logged into Google and I created a sheet. First name, last name, email, phone, and notes. Then I put test, 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 test. If you don't do this on your Google Sheet, Zapier can tend to have issues. So this is like a safety net. So just put test, 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 test on the second row of whatever your sheet looks like. It's just going to save you a lot of headaches in the future. I learned that the hard way. And I saved it. So I saved this form as FB lead sheet test. So you can name it whatever you want to name it. The reason why you want to have this created is because when I go back to Zapier, I'm going to create a spreadsheet row. So this is going to add entries onto that document. So I'm going to choose that. Hit save and continue. And I want it under my account. You'll have to connect your account if you haven't done that yet, but you literally just click that, log in, and grant permission. Okay, so it's going to ask me what spreadsheet do I want it to go onto. So it's just checking out. And it's this one right here. Okay, so see how easy it is once you already have it created. So it's really important that you guys have everything set up first before you go into Zapier. Zapier is the last thing that you do. Zapier is just to connect it all. But if you don't have the pieces built, then you're going to run into issues. Okay, this one is confusing for a lot of people. So I'm going to worksheet. You click on this and you're looking, and people are going to look at this and be like, what is this? What's next? You're going to choose this option, sheet number 1. What is that? Let me go to my sheet and show you. Sometimes on a Google Excel or whatever, a Google sheet, you'll have multiple tabs along the bottom. So I could have a buyer tab, a seller tab, an investing tab. So that means I could have one document with different tabs of different sources of leads. Instead of you managing 30 different Excel sheets or Google Sheets, you could have one called Facebook leads, and then you have all of the different tabs along the bottom. Now, if you just set up one from default, you're going to see it's going to be called sheet number 1. But if I change this to say, call it Google Leads or whatever, then when I go back to Zapier, it would have been in the dropdown and I would choose the right tab. Okay, so that actually confused me. The first time I did it, I didn't know what I was looking at. And that's why I'm here, to help you guys learn faster. Okay, so now it pulled in all of the columns. So my column, I named it first name, last name, email, phone, and notes. So if I go back to my sheet, if I had other columns up along the top, it would have pulled in all of those columns. Now what it's asking me to do is it wants me to know, okay, what data do you want me to put right here? That's basically what Zapier is asking me right now. So I'm going to go back to my Facebook and I'm going to say, okay, well, obviously the first name is going to be the first name. So let me click this insert a field. And I want to pull the data from the Facebook lead. So I'm going to say Facebook. And then obviously it's first name. So it pulls in the fake dummy information. I'll do that for all of them. Last name, email, phone, and then whatever information you have, you can have it like put the name of the listing that you're advertising or whatever information you want. I'm just going to put the date and time it was created and hit continue. And then you should always do, actually, here, let me do that now and see if it works. I'm going to hit send test. All right, so if I come here and hit refresh, there. Oh, magic. It just went there. So cool, right? Okay, that was way faster than I thought. Okay, so and now we can add more steps. So you can be like, hey, okay, that's great. It's on my Excel sheet, but I actually want them in my database. Okay, if that's the case, then you're going to click add a step. You're going to click search. And then you're going to search the name of your database. Like, I don't know what you guys are using, so I'm going to do Infusion. So I search Infusion because that's what I'm using, but you're going to search whatever database that you are using. And then each one is going to be different. So my screen is going to look different than your screen because Infusion has different features and functions than the other databases. So just read the options and pick the one that makes the most sense for you. So for me, I'm going to say I want to create and update a new contact. All right, save and continue. And this is the account that I want it under, so save and continue. Does each step count as a zap, or can one zap have several steps? That is a really good question. And I don't actually know the answer to it. I never looked. I know when I had the 100 zap, like the free version, I was totally fine with what I was creating at. Somebody says, can iExact work with Zapier? I want to show you a roundabout way if you're, Actually, I don't know if they work with Zapier. You'll have to ask them. Whoever you use, send them a message and say, hey, do you work with Zapier? Because it's really, really important in today's world that it does. So I don't know the actual answer. I don't know if this one counts as 1, 2, 3 zaps, or if it's just a zap and then these are steps within it. That is a good question. And I'm sorry, I don't want to lie and say something I don't know. Okay, so here I'm telling Zapier I want to create a contact into my database. Okay, so I need their email. Now here's where mine is going to look different than yours because it's saying action set sequence. Well, if you're using contactually, for example, then maybe your option says something about buckets. My screen doesn't say anything about a bucket because Infusionsoft doesn't use buckets, they use tags. So for me, my tags would be down here. And I got like a lot of tags. So if I say sales, actually I've got like 1,000 tags or something. I'm not gonna do it. But I could say, okay, when a person gets entered into my database, tag them as this. And then because Infusionsoft knows what that tag means, it's then going to launch the proper follow-up. So it would send them the right welcome email, and then it will send them like an email a week later, 2 months later, a text message. So I created that timeline in my database. So all databases are different. I just want to show you that you actually can connect your database, and you basically just match all of the fields. So you would say, okay, the first name obviously is going to be the first name. The last name, obviously the last name, right? And you go down. Now I don't have to add job title because Facebook wasn't pulling that information. So I want to leave it as blank. So you can go ahead and skip all the ones that don't make sense for you. And then when you're done, which I got a lot here, you'll hit continue. Say you have another step. Say you want to get a text message. You want to click on add a step. Action search. And I want to get a text message, SMS. Hit save and continue. Now, I'm not going to do this because it's different for so many different people. I'm just showing you, you want to get text messages, you hit the add a step and you do this option. If you're in Canada, maybe that orange version won't work. So what you want to do is hit search and add Twilio. Send an SMS message and then follow the steps on screen. Like it's black and white. It's do this next or don't do anything at all. So there, you can play with this so much. I could even say, oh, you know what? I also want to send them a bomb video. So come in here, type in bomb, add contact to drip, save and continue. Now, obviously, I would have had to have my drip already created in bomb first, but isn't this so cool that once you create this timeline, it takes you like 20 minutes to set it up. Now it just does it for you automatically going forward over and over and over and over again. Does not yet work with top question here. Does not work with top producer. I don't think it does work with top producer. Allegedly, they're coming up with a new TP. We can only hope. I would hope so too. All right, so let me go back to my Word doc. All right, isn't that cool? So we do Facebook leads for clients where we generate Facebook leads for them. And we set up Zapier to automatically send them and notify them of their lead with the script and everything else. And that's exactly how we do it. Okay, so email by Zapier. If you do want to use that email app that I just showed you, here's a link here. I'm going to leave. And it shows you all of the different interactions that you can do with email. So you could say, when I get a lead, add them to this. When I get a lead, do that. So there's like so many ways that you can play with it. I want to skip to more exciting stuff. Oh, here. Okay, let's watch this video. Because sometimes the app that we want doesn't integrate. Like, for example, realtor.com or realtor.ca or your MLS, when you get a lead from that, good luck. You're not going to be able to connect Zapier to that. They're just not going to give that kind of access. But what you can do is through the email farser, I don't know how to say that. Anyways, through this, you can basically program Zapier to read emails and pull out the data and then put them into other programs. So just because your franchise or your MLS doesn't integrate with Zapier, you can actually set it up so that you can say any leads I get from them, read it, scrape it, and put it into my database, launch a follow-up plan, that sort of thing. So we'll watch a little video. All right, now this video is kind of going to go over a lot of people's heads maybe. Let me just show you an example. So here is an example of a lead that I get, right? It's a fake lead. There's Shihab right there. Hey, buddy. And so basically what I could do is if my source of this lead didn't integrate with Zapier, which it does because it's from Infusion. But if it didn't, this is what leads typically look like, right? You get an email and it's got a bunch of gibberish and name, phone number, email. So basically, you kind of like will highlight each of the points and say, okay, this is the first name, this is the last name, this is the email. And you've now trained Zapier how to read that email, and then it will copy and paste and pull it out. So it's almost like limitless, because now programs that don't work with Zapier actually do. So let's watch that video.
Today we're talking about the email parser tool in Zapier. Parser by Zapier helps you send data through Zapier that otherwise wouldn't be possible. Maybe due to a lack of an integration, or it might just simply be easier for you, depending on your workflows. Parser takes bits and pieces of data from an email so that you can use it in a Zap. First, let's create a parser account, and then we'll move on to using it in a Zap. Start by going to parser.zapier.com. This is where you'll set up mailboxes that you can then send emails into for parsing. To start, click on the Login with your Zapier account button, and then the Authorize button on the next page.
So I want to pause right here. Basically what that means is you're going to make your own Zapier email. You then take that email and, for example, say I do a lot of Craigslist advertising and I'm getting a lot of leads through Craigslist. You know, on Craigslist, how you have to like say what your email is, your incoming email. So when a person fills in a form, where does that form go to? This is where you would use that email, and you would dedicate, okay, all my incoming leads go to this email specifically. And you can create different emails through Zapier so that you can say, this is my Craigslist email, this is my whatever email. You can make 100 emails if you wanted, one for each source, because you can't use one for everything. It's like one for one thing only.
If you're not currently logged into your Zapier account, you'll be prompted to. Next, you'll be greeted with the Mailboxes index page. You can have as many parser inboxes as you want, and each inbox should correspond with a single version of an email you need to parse. Click on Create Mailbox to make your first one. From there, go ahead and send an email to the new email address you've just created. You'll want to use this email to create a template. If you're forwarding an existing email to the parser, you'll want to be careful not to include extra threads or replies, email signatures, or indented content, as that can cause issues when you define the template. You might try copy and pasting the content into a new email instead, or set up auto-forwarding. On the mailbox settings page for this parser inbox, you can define a unique address. It can be helpful to include something that reminds you what it's used for, which makes things a lot easier later on when finding it for a Zap. Below that, you'll find the initial template section with the contents of the email you just sent in. You have access to the subject line and the body in the parser tool. For the best results, the emails you send into this inbox should match the format of this email exactly. You can train the parser to handle other formats that are slightly different by creating multiple templates, but for now, let's just finish our look around and our initial template. Below are a few more options for the body source and parser engine, but unless you run into trouble, I'd recommend leaving those default options alone. It's super important that the email you want to parse has the fields you're looking to grab on separate lines. If you can't, use a non-space delimiter, like the pipe character, to help the email parser find the field boundary. If they exist in a single blob of text, it's much harder for a parser to read, and you could run into errors. If your emails must be in that type of format, you might want to look at mailparser.io as a more robust solution for your parsing needs. They can even help parse text inside of documents too. Now it's time to identify which parts of the email we want to parse into separate fields, so we can map those in Zaps. Simply highlight any of the data in the template itself, and in this case, I'm going to highlight the customer name, so I'll call this selection Name. You'll see the template change format a bit on the section you highlighted, which is a good thing. If you want to rename that bit of data, you can left-click on it to make changes. Continue this process for each piece of data you want to use in a Zap, and when you're done, click on the Save Address and Template button at the bottom of the page. Now that we're done setting up our mailboxes, let's go to our Zapier dashboard.
I want to pause it there because that video from this point forward gets really confusing, especially if you're not needing to know this information. But that's the gist of it. So what I would do is I would take my email and, let me zoom out. Okay, so what I would do is I would just grab the information I need. I only need this information. I don't need the rest. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to compose a new email. I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to delete my email signature so that it's literally just that information. Now, the recipient, who am I going to email it to? It would be that Zapier email that you just set up if you followed along the video. So I would have an email set up just for Craigslist. Then I would take that email and then I would forward this to it. And you only have to do it the first time because it's going to use this as a template to train itself on how to grab the information. I think that is so cool because we get leads from so many different sources and not all of those sources integrate with Zapier. So this is a way that you actually can work around and get all of your data put into something specifically. I think it's brilliant. Like, it is going to save you guys so much time. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other examples of programs. Oh, geez. Hold on. All right, so let's take a look. A lot of you guys use Gmail, right? So let's take a look at what are the zaps that you can do with Gmail. All right, so you guys do a lot of attachments, right? You have paperwork and everything. You could make a carbon copy of all of your documents that you send, the attachments, and automatically save them into Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox or whatever program you use. You could do that. You could save all new Gmail emails matching certain traits to a Google spreadsheet. There's one really good one. Hold on. Oh, maybe that was it. No, there was one I saw. Hold on, I'm going to find it for you. Oh, here we go. Yeah. This one is so cool. So add new incoming Gmail emails that match a label to Google Sheets as new rows. So how would we use that? Let me go to my email. And so here's all my labels. I've got different labels here, right? So I've got affiliate programs. I've got my Brokerage Nation stuff. I've got taxes. These are all different labels that I have for different reasons. Well, you could create one label called buyer leads and another label called seller leads and another label called past clients. And when you get an email, so here's an email here, what I could do is change the labels. So here's labels here. And I could say, okay, anybody who gets, I'll just, doesn't matter, I'll do this. So I'll put this as a client label. As soon as I apply this label in my email, Zapier is going to take their email and then put it into a Google Sheet. And then you could tell the next step after that could be like, okay, anybody who gets added to this Google Sheet, then launch this plan. Directly in your email, like you guys are already in your email, how easy would that be to add people to specific drip plans and follow-up plans simply by adding and applying a label to them directly in the email that you're already using? Pretty cool stuff, man. Like that is that one right there I'm excited about because I want to use that one. Let me go back to my Gmail. Okay, so there's a couple examples with Gmail. I mean, they have 25 examples, but you can literally come up with any idea that you can think of. There's a question. That is really cool. It is really cool. That one right there is like game changer because you guys are just dealing with your email anyways. Okay, so Google Calendar. Let's take a look at the Google Calendar. And I mean, this would work with Outlook and everything else. Most of you are on Google, so I'm going to go to Google. Okay, so what are some of the possibilities with your Google Calendar? Create a Google Calendar events from new Google Sheets in rows. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so say I get a lead, for example. I could have it automatically time block my prospecting follow-up for these leads. That's an example of how I read that into that. What else they got? Create new Google Calendar event from form entries. Yeah, makes sense. Oh, that's cool. Copy a new Google Calendar event to a different Google Calendar. Some of you are like, it's a hot mess. Your Google accounts are just a disaster, and you've got so many. And this is one way you could get a roundabout one, because like even for me, my YouTube channel, it's a really, I don't know, I'm happy with it. It's a good YouTube channel. It's got a lot of traction, that sort of thing. But the email that I use to log in to manage it is something I created when I was a kid. It's the stupidest email ever, and I can't change it. I'm like locked in. So I actually have multiple Gmail accounts. And so you can, I didn't even think about that, to go from one account to the other. That's cool. Get MSM alerts for approaching events. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Right on. Okay, so that's it. You guys can filter through, see what works for you. Some of the other programs that work, like BombBomb, I'm a huge proponent of BombBomb. If you need BombBomb, there's a link. And you could say for every buyer lead I get, automatically send them a buyer response video. Every seller I get, send them a seller response video. One of you don't want to be on camera, so then you could just record your computer screen. ManyChat. We still have to do that. I'm going to do a session on generating leads through Facebook using ManyChat, but you can actually integrate ManyChat. I specifically put it here because I know a lot of real estate agents are getting a lot of real estate leads through ManyChat. It's an instant chat robot that you do when you do paid advertising. And now you can integrate it with Zapier, which means you can automatically pull all that information into your database. I'm going to throw a curveball out here and show you something really cool with Twitter. So I'm actually not a big fan of Twitter. I think it's nonsense. I can't even hang out there. It's like, it hurts my brain to read what people are saying. But I'm going to show you something cool. So if I go to Twitter, so here's Twitter, and I put in quotation. So quotation, moving to Toronto, quotation. If I don't put the quotation, I want to know who's moving to my city. So I could say Toronto, I could say New York, I could say whatever city you live in. So moving to, and it gives me a list of all these people that are swearing, apparently. So she's moving to Toronto. I'll be moving to Toronto. You moving to Toronto? I'm moving to Toronto. I'm moving to Toronto. I'm moving to Toronto. And if I just like, let me refresh this. Let me do a fresh search and see what, because this was yesterday. All right, so moving to Toronto, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to scroll down. Look how many are here and what's the time. Like within the last 3 days, this is all within the last 3 days of people that are saying that they're moving to Toronto. So I could tell Zapier, whenever there's a Twitter mention about somebody moving to my city, create a Google Doc. I then could have that Google Doc go to my virtual assistant, and that virtual assistant could message everybody through Twitter saying, hey, if you happen to actually really be moving to Toronto, we can help you out with this, this, and this. And just like have somebody being proactive and reaching out to these people. Now, most of them, like, I mean, the girl was swearing. She's like, F it, I'm moving to Toronto. Maybe not the best client, but whatever. Just if you could pay a virtual assistant even 1 hour a week to do that for you, let a week of like 1 week of all these people saying they're moving to your city, you got like fresh, like how can you not get a deal? 1 deal a year out of that, 2 deals a year out of that, like, man. Okay, so that's the one idea. Now, the other one, if you want to go one step even further, is this. I'm going to give you a link to this. So it's in my Word doc that I want to give you. So I give you instructions on how to set up this stuff. One of them is send email alerts for any tweet meant. No, this one here. So the advanced guide. Okay. So here's the guide. This is really cool. I could say tweets by location. So the thing with Twitter is if I went to Twitter and I say buying a home and just search that on Twitter, I mean, these people are all over the world. Like they're all over the world. But by watching and following these instructions, which I'm not going to do right now because it would probably take an hour, it shows you how to set it up, that it will only show you the people that say that they're moving or buying a home within a half-hour radius of where you live and work and play. Like, that is some advanced killer stuff right here. Really, really cool. So there you go. That's like the only reason I could suggest that you use Twitter. No, I know some of you actually use Twitter and you're really good at it and you get business and you're like, Danny, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. However, I also know that for the other 99% of the people, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, they're all a waste of time as far as getting buyer leads and seller leads. For the most agents, some of you are going to kill it, and that's great. That's really awesome that you do. Twitter, for me, is not one of them. And this is, however, one of the sneaky ninja tricks that I'm going to end off on. So, cool beans. I am going to email you guys this Word document, and I put a link to each of the things, breaking it down. So if you want to use BombBomb, that shows you all the integrations. If you want to use your Gmail, it shows you integrations. So, cool. All right. Hopefully you guys like that. I mean, Zapier is totally a game changer once you actually take the time to set it up. That's really great information on Twitter. Thank you. You are welcome. Hey, really cool. Could we get a one-on-one help to set this up individually? Awesome question. Sales pitch alert. Yeah, you can. So if you're like, Danny, I watched your video and I tried doing it myself and I spent 2 hours and it's still not working. What we'll do is we'll set up a one-on-one coaching call and we'll do it for you. Either you can watch and learn as we do it, or we can just literally do it for you. So all of you listening, if you're like, I want this, but I don't have the time for it, then just email me, call, text, or whatever you want. And then we would be glad to help you set it up. And we'll just treat it as a one-off, one-on-one coaching call. And so the coaching call prices is $160 unless you're on any of my reoccurring programs. So if you're in my group coaching program, which those of you asking these questions right now actually are, then it's $140. So it's either $140 or $160. Cool. All right, good. Hopefully you guys start using this. Zapier, totally game changer. It was my first assistant ever. I don't even know when. Like, man, 2011 maybe. I don't know when Zapier came out, but I've been using them from the early days, and it just fully automates everything. How much should it cost if you were to help us set up? I think I just answered that. It's 160 or 140. So if you're in the group coaching program, it's 140. Yeah, right on. Cool. Okay. In any of my email signatures, gives you a link so that you can book one-on-one coaching calls. So awesome. Okay, I'll end the call because I'm just kind of rambling now. So if any of you are in the middle of typing a question, just email or text me that question and I'll follow up. So thanks for hanging out, everyone. Hopefully today was a good one, and I look forward to the next. Bye. Hey, if you want to close more real estate transactions, get more buyer leads, and get more seller leads, click this button right here. It'll take you to our real estate group coaching page. Also, if you like this video and want more, you can subscribe by pressing this, or you can check out some of my past videos here. Enjoy!